Hello, welcome back to
Hello.
another episode of the Empath Sisters. I'm Shelly,
Hi, I'm Bev.
and today we have decided that we are going to talk about moon phases and rituals. So,
Yes,
yeah, because
absolutely.
there's full moon coming and there's new
That's
moons,
right.
and I'm actually I don't want to say that I'm embarrassed to say this, maybe, but at the same time, I don't know all of the phases. I just know new moon and full moon. So I'm so glad that
That's
Bev has
okay.
decided to help and talk about the other parts of
Mm-hmm.
moon phases. So, and
That's right.
we're going to talk about our rituals and what we do, and maybe that will
Totally.
help you wanting to do your own or make up your
Yes,
own. So,
totally.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to be embarrassed, Shell. It's like, it's whatever. Like, if that is what's in alignment for you to focus on those two phases, really, they're the biggest ones, the biggest points of the phases. So,
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of attention around those. But just knowing the other phases kind of makes sense as it's kind of like a whole cycle. And so
Right.
it just kind of makes it more complete. And having that knowledge, I don't know, it just helps. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Let that go. And yes, I'm excited to share about our rituals as well. Um, I love
Mhm.
rituals of all kinds, whether it's meditation with crystals,
Yeah.
you know, prayer, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
all the things, or the moons. So, yeah, there's a full moon that's coming up right away. But once this recording goes out, it'll have passed. But I'm hosting a full moon ritual get together here at the center. And I've decided to have a bit of a party afterwards just to raise some vibrations. And so I'm really, really excited. It was the only way I
Yeah.
could really figure out how to throw a spiritual party into something.
That sounds so exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm very excited. Um, but yeah, I also do, full moon rituals. I also do the new moon
Mm-hmm.
rituals as well. Is that
Yeah.
something that you practice, Jill?
To be honest, I'm pretty bad about like I
Stop
am.
saying you're bad. That's not
I know,
good.
but like honestly, like like I said earlier, it's not about being embarrassed, I guess, or whatever. I'm bad at remembering. I don't actually always remember when there is a full moon or a new moon, and so when somebody mentions it to me, I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, okay. Or if I if I see it, on
Yeah.
some social media that somebody's posted or something, I go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I gotta do. Shit, like so
Yeah.
then
Here's step
I
10.
yeah, and so, but at the same time, uh, again, there's sometimes where I'm just like called not to do like the full ritual, right? So like
Hmm.
sometimes
Totally.
I just feel like I need to just charge my crystals that day, or
Right.
I need to sage the house or sage myself, and then charge the crystals or do the full ritual. So I would have to
Hmm.
say, yeah, I'm kind of bad about following it strictly every month. I would have to say I'm
Yeah.
not very good at
Yeah.
that, but
That's okay.
whenever I'm called to, right? So
Yeah.
that's how
Well,
I
that's
look
the
at
whole
it.
point.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of it is listening to your gut and your guides and your intuition as to like, okay, they're going to let you know. And if you
Yeah.
need to do your ritual that month and it's like, oh, I got a lot of stuff I need to get rid of, or
Yeah.
hey, I'm at a place in my life where or a point or phase in my life where I just need to start calling in some stuff and setting some
Right.
intentions. So I feel it just falls in alignment with what you're doing and where you're going on your journey. And I think
Oh, for
that's
sure.
when we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know why I love the moon. It's one of my most favorite things. I know everybody's kind of got their thing,
Yeah.
and I feel so connected to the moon. I think it is absolutely breathtaking every time I get to see it through the telescope or anything like that. I'm just like in love. It
Mm-hmm.
could bring tears to my eyes. So for me, because I feel that connected to the moon, I feel like I just want to know when the phases are, and it also gives me insight as an energy worker as to what's going on, in the environment out there with everybody else, because of course this energy, the moon energy, affects us
Right.
and how we are. And so it's just nice to have that insight so that I'm a little bit prepared. And sometimes I don't schedule clients near the full moon. I'm like, no. And sometimes it's like, no problem, open up the calendar, because for some reason, it'll mean that there's people that need to come and they
Yeah,
need to let go of some stuff. And so I'm
for
being of
sure.
service during those times as well. So, um, but I especially do not go shopping near the full moon because I don't know. I'm sure. Well, yes, you've worked retail too. I worked retail as well. And I have noticed it's like it's crazy. I don't know. People are like not themselves during a full moon. It'll be like, what is going on? All of a sudden, just seems so, the strangest things happen all the time.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, oh, it's a full moon.
Yeah,
So
I
do
would have to
you recall
say
that?
I don't.
Oh,
This sounds I know again, like the only time I actually notice when it is a full moon, and
yeah.
a lot of it is to with Dwayne because of his line of
Oh, yeah.
work. I will
Right.
know right away. Oh God, it's a full moon. And like it's the truth though. Like
Yep.
when he is working on a full moon or day before or like
Yeah.
and day after, sometimes it's a week even.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap that happens and
Yeah. It's
it's
not positive. It's in
no.
the negative. It's just,
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
that's when I know, okay, it's a full moon because Dwayne will say, "God, I don't know why I'm getting all," and I go, "I know, look, it's a full moon," and he's like,
That's when it comes
"Dang,
in.
yeah, yeah." So
Maybe you
I
guys should put it on a big calendar on your fridge or something. Then you're both prepared every
circle
month.
it, yeah,
So we
exactly,
are ready for this.
yeah, yeah. So that's when I really know when it is, and so
Yeah.
but again, like I don't know. I really feel like because I am a traditional air sign. I am so oblivious to a lot of things
When you say
that
air sign, I just see you floating.
I know. But that's what I am. And and
Yeah.
like I just don't, it's not that I don't pay attention. I do. I know when the energy shifts. I know when
Yeah.
all that happens because, yeah, they affect me, those full moons and new moons. Like, I
Yeah.
can't sleep or I can't, whatever. But at the same time, like, there are some times where I'm just oblivious and I don't even
Yeah.
notice until it's like almost to the point where I'm like, why? And then I realize why.
Like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I would have liked to receive that ahead of time, but sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, exactly. And like I said before in many episodes that you've probably heard me say is really, I swear to God, my spirit guides are like, Jesus, like this girl does not get it. Like
You're just too airy, Shelly.
I'm
That's all.
so
I'm
airy.
so the opposite of you. I'm the earth. I am
I
so
know.
like grounded,
I know, and
right?
that's
Just
why I married
planted.
Dwayne. Dwayne's an earth guy, and he's my grounding person.
Nice. That's
But
good. You gotta have
when
that balance.
yeah, and like actually speaking of that,
Mm,
like I am a Libra and you know how like cuz like that's your sign. Like what you're a Capricorn, that's your sign.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you have like a moon and what's the other one called? I'm having a blank right now. Um
Element.
not the element because
No.
that's my air sign, but there's
Right.
another one and it's your, oh, what's it called? I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to look it up because it's just like gonna bug me because
It will. I was just gonna say, sorry, everybody. She's got to do it because it's
yeah,
just gonna drive her absolutely
it's going to
nuts.
bug me. It is called the rising. So
Mm,
um I am actually a double back to back. So, like, I'm a Libra sun, so that's my sign, and
hmm
I'm a Cancer moon, and then I'm a
hmm
Libra rising. So, I'm actually double
Oh,
Libra.
yeah.
So, I am totally
Double whammy.
double
Away you
whammy.
go. I just see
So,
leaves floating in the air. Literally, it's the visual I'm having. It's like,
yeah, so I am almost a pure Libran. So, and the
almost.
Cancer does not help either because the Cancer
Uh,
moon is the emotional side of me. So that doesn't, it makes sense for me totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Speaks to you
yeah,
for
it
sure.
does. And so when
Yeah.
that happens, and I think that's probably why when these phases come into action, I
Yeah.
do get emotional. I get more
Yeah.
emotional on the moon phases. So,
Right.
that's just one of the things that I notice when it's
Yeah.
coming up for me. So that's why I wanted to bring that up because it's like
Yeah.
totally.
Let me just make sure you really understand what I am.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Shelly, for sharing that with all of us.
I know.
We love you still, no matter what.
Yes, and I love you too. And if you are interested in finding out what those are, there's
Yeah.
an app um,
Oh,
that
good.
you can
Share.
actually put it in, but you have to know the time of birth if like, I mean, you don't have to, but it helps if you know the
Right.
time of birth. And so actually the app is called Time Passages, and it's awesome because it tells
Cool.
you everything, even like the different houses, all that kinds of stuff. It tells you and explains to you what they mean, and it's fantastic. So, and
Cool.
you can add other people, like if you have your family, like I've done that with my family, so now it makes sense of like why they are, and yeah, it's a really cool app. So definitely
Cool.
look into that. It's called Time Passages. So yeah, anyway,
Cool.
back to moons.
That's awesome. Thank you for the share. I think a lot of other people will appreciate that as well. I think
Mm-hmm.
the more knowledge that you have about you,
Yes.
yourself, whether it's, zodiac, the moon phases, like
Yes.
everything, it is truly amazing when you look at all of these things, how much it speaks to
Yeah.
exactly how you are and your
Yes.
personality and your behaviors and
Mm-hmm.
your feelings, your everything. And it's just like,
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's so cool because
I
then it's
know.
like pulling everything out there into this one being.
Right.
And it's so amazing. I think it's
It
really
is.
empowering.
Mm-hmm.
I think too. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I could tell
Like
you
maybe
yours.
my
I've already
ideas
put
now.
yours in, I think. I'm not sure if
Oh,
I did or not.
I don't know mine. I'm like, oh, you already did mine.
I
She's
think
like, I
so.
must know how we work together.
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. I put in like obviously Dwayne and Chrissy, Dallas, and
Okay,
Eric, and then the two granddaughters so far. So I didn't update it
nice.
yet, but I was going to add a bunch of more people because it totally just you know makes sense to me of
Yeah, of
what they
course.
are, and like with even just
Cool.
with Eric, because like Eric is a Cancer sign, and so it
Hmm.
makes sense why we are so
Connected to.
connected. Yeah,
And
exactly.
in more of an emotional way. I feel like you and Eric are
Yes,
connected more in that
absolutely.
way. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
that's so cool.
So, yeah, but
Cool.
definitely
I'm gonna
look
have to
into
check
that.
mine out.
Well, I could
I'll
do it right
text you
now.
later,
Yeah,
Shell.
text me later.
Text you
So,
later.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So back to the full moons. So I'm not sure, so I don't know if anybody else out there has ever experienced, that heightened feeling or kind of had that awareness of like, what is going on out here? That could be why. So look at a calendar
Mhm.
and maybe just get that information or knowledge ahead of time if you want to. If it speaks to you,
Yeah.
it will actually help in some ways of like, oh, that makes sense, which is really
Yes.
nice.
Hmm.
Anyway, so with the moon phase, I guess the whole moon cycle, I guess that did you know that it is approximately 28 days for a whole complete like moon cycle?
Yes, I did know
Yeah,
that. Yeah, it's
that's so
almost,
cool.
yeah, it's like, and I think that's why women are so connected to the moon
Yeah,
because,
I agree.
yeah, it just,
Because a female hormonal cycle also
right.
is approximately around that 28-day cycle as
Hmm.
well. So I always think like, okay, I think that is not just a coincidence.
No, absolutely not.
That's how
No.
I feel. So,
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
but yeah, there's four different phases of the moon that I'm just going to touch on briefly. I'm not going to go in like in depth with it, but the first one I will start with is going to be like the new moon. So the new moon, when we're entering into the new moon phase, this is entering the energy for creation. This is all about planting seeds, setting new intentions, and making our wishes to the universe, basically. And also, psychic energy is really high during that time. And you also might experience feelings of solitude as well during the new moon phase.
Right.
So then from the new moon phase, we move into the waxing moon phase, which is the next one. And this phase is what helps us to actually start to take action on the goals and those intentions and our dreams and wishes and planting seeds that we just did on the new moon. We actually start to take action on those goals and those wishes and dreams. And then it just allows new experiences to come forward for us so that we can continuously grow. And so,
So I
go
have a
ahead.
question about that.
Yeah.
So waxing, what does that mean? Like you said, it's just after the new moon. So does that mean a few days, or is that like when like a crescent, the part of the
Yes.
crescent moon?
Yeah.
You
So it's
know,
like the in between. So we go
okay,
from that full moon and then wherever that, the new moon is and where the
right.
full moon is, it'll be the waxing falls in between the new and the full.
Okay,
And then it will go full moon to the waning moon and then back to the new moon. So it kind of just
okay,
goes in that cycle.
right.
And that's those crescents. That's when we fall into that waxing gibbous and then the waning.
Okay,
So we'll go new moon, waxing, full moon, waning moon, new moon, and it just continues to go on that cycle
right. Yeah.
within
Okay,
a 28-day cycle,
right.
approximately.
Okay. So
Depends.
basically, um, if we were looking at it as a 4 week cycle, it'd be 1 week of new
Exactly.
moon, 1 week of waxing, 1 week of full, and then 1 week of waning.
Yeah,
So, okay,
absolutely. Yeah,
nice.
perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
just so I have a
So
better
new moon again.
understanding, because sometimes
Oh,
not everybody
yeah,
knows what those mean, right? And they just think
right.
it's a crescent moon and that
Yeah,
there's nothing to them other than new moon and full moon, right? Like
that's right.
that's how I look at it. I
Yeah,
you know, only do rituals on new moon and full moon, not knowing that there's actually in betweens. So that's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
And I
Okay.
don't really do rituals on the in-betweens, but it
No.
makes sense when
Mm-hmm.
we set those intentions. It's like we set those intentions, we want to bring forward this, and then all of a sudden we're already at the releasing. But it's like we forgot what happened in between the
Right.
new moon and the full moon. And it was like, well, you set these intentions and everything. But what you don't, most people don't realize is that you actually started implementing those actions, like taking action
Right.
and setting those and starting to bring them to fruition. And as
Right.
we go through that phase and then we get to that full moon, it's like, okay, we were bringing in new and now we need to let go because honestly, we have to get rid of old stuff in order to make room for new to come into our journey.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why the moon phases are so amazing because it gives us those opportunities to do that. That's
Right.
why I love the moon phases
Okay.
for that reason. So,
Okay.
so we go with the new moon, and then that's setting the intention, creation. Psychic energy is really high. You might feel like you need to just have some solitude. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just because we kind of want to go in and we look at what it is that our hearts are desiring and what we want to put out there. And then we move into the following week, we start falling into that waxing moon. And then
Okay.
that's when we actually start to like, I really want to, you really start to get inspired and you start really wanting to get going on these goals that you set for
Right.
yourself. So we actually start taking action. And then following that, we fall into that full moon.
Mm-hmm.
So the full moon phase is the next one, and that is the most powerful energy point that we hit in the
Right.
phase.
Yeah.
And it will feel like high energy, high power all around you, whether you feel it or you don't. That is what the energy is like around you. If you start paying attention, you might notice yourself how it can be kind of calm and then it just feels like really intense and it's like what is going on, so just to bring awareness in anyway.
Yeah.
So this is also the time or the phase to release and to let go of anything that no longer serves you. So which then this will allow, again, like I was saying, like that space for new to come into our lives. And this is what is known as the cycle of death and rebirth. So it's
Okay.
like out with the old, bringing in the new, bring
Right.
in the new, out with the old. And then, so from the full moon, when we kind of release and we let go of stuff that we've been maybe hanging on to, or we just don't want anymore, or experiences we've had, or anything from that month or farther into the past, whatever comes up for you, that's an opportunity for you just to let it go.
Yeah.
And then we move into the waning moon. And that's that fourth phase. And this phase following the full moon provides us that time of reflection on our emotions, kind of who we are as individuals. That's usually when we kind of really go within ourselves and go, okay, whoa, what do I want to change? How can I make this better? um, it's like we just really look at ourselves, I find, in that
Right.
phase. And then this is the beginning of that rebirthing, and the intuition and revelations just start to come to us, because it's like, oh my gosh, okay, because that's when we're able to get those revelations. And the intuition comes in, and there's that rebirthing because we've just now taken a look at, ourselves and going within.
Okay.
And then that phase also will feel pretty intense. It's and why it will feel intense is because we are looking at our emotions and looking within. And sometimes that's a lot right
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the end of that fourth
Phase.
cycle. And
Okay.
then we move back into that new moon again. And then we
Right.
again set new intentions. So I practice doing new moon rituals and also full moon rituals. I don't necessarily do anything on the other phases, but that's only
Mm-hmm.
just because I know that I start taking action, and I know that's when I start going and looking within again. And it's just
Right.
part of that whole cycle. So
Okay.
you were mentioning that you do full moon as well, and new moon, right?
I
Rituals?
do, but like I said before, is that if I'm called to, like
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
I don't. Like there's sometimes I'm not even doing the full ritual. Like my full ritual is
yeah.
especially for new moon, well, and
Mm-hmm.
full, is like with the new moon, I'm always, writing stuff down on a piece of paper, or I'm writing
Right.
down stuff to just sort of put the intention.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I will, it depends, like I said, it's either I will keep it in the book and just keep it there, and then I will let things go at the full moon with
Right.
that, and I'll burn them
Mm-hmm.
and then leave them out and let the ashes, like the wind, take the ashes away
Right.
in the full moon. But in the new moon, I can, like, I will do that too. It's just that I'll burn it and then, put them in something that's safe, of course, and then put it outside and let the ashes go as well, and put all my stones out,
Mm-hmm.
crystals that I need, that I'm feeling that needs to be recharged or cleansed,
Right.
especially the ones in my, like in my bed, because
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned this too. Like I literally sleep with crystals in my pillowcase and
Mm-hmm.
under my bed and things. So those ones I do faithfully every month, put
Right.
them out, because they absorb so much energy when I'm going to sleep. so,
Yeah.
and so I do that. But I also like do the other parts of that ritual is sage the whole house. Or sometimes I don't even do the whole house. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
just saging a room or two that I feel needs to be done. And
Right.
then there's some days where I don't. So yeah, like it really
Nice.
depends on the feeling,
Of
however you want
course.
to, whatever you're called to, or I'm called to
Yeah.
do. So, and I
Yeah.
know you do something similar.
Yeah. I also work with the new moon and the full moon.
Yeah.
And for the full moon, what I'll do is I light a candle. I always light a white candle for
Mm-hmm.
some reason. I like having white light with me.
Yeah.
And I will have set an intention of, asking for whatever that needs to come up that doesn't serve me, whatever it is, to come up, and so that I can release it. And I will kind of do a meditation.
Yeah.
And when I come out of my meditation, that's usually when the information is there for me. And I just always have a piece of paper and a pen ready. And I just start writing everything that comes up for me,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of like dumping it out or just spewing it onto the paper.
Right.
And then at that point, sometimes I read it out loud, because that's like I find that there's such power in just voicing it and
Yeah.
saying this is what I'm intentionally letting go of.
Yes.
Or you can just read it in your mind, or don't read it at all. And then I burn it.
Yeah.
And then I burn it, and I just allow it to kind of go out to the universe. And then after that, I cleanse myself. I clear
Yeah.
myself with sage as well.
Mm-hmm.
I typically sage my entire house on a
Yeah.
full moon.
Yeah.
It's just like a house cleaning. It's just kind of like, okay, it's time to do that deep cleaning. And that's when I do my sage.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the new moon, what I like to do is light my candle. And I like to do the same thing, but I don't meditate typically on the new moon. I just light my candle and I just sit down, just, connect with my breath. And then I just start writing down some of my wishes and my
Right.
intentions. And it's not demanding either, because I know some people have, brought it up and said, oh my gosh, well, I don't want to ask for anything because, then I'm being greedy, or, they're just
Right.
always worried about things like that. And it's not that you're demanding any of this stuff to come forward. It's just that you're just allowing yourself to be open,
Yeah.
and you're just asking if
Yeah.
that you're open to receiving. If it's meant to be, it'll come on your journey, but you're just kind of letting them know, and you just in your heart, this is something that you would love for it to come forward. Or
Mhm.
maybe you're needing help with something. Maybe you're working on a project and you're like, oh, I could really use some help with this. I'm
Yeah.
open to, you bringing that person forward for me. And
Hmm.
so it really can be anything that you want to put down for your new moon.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
so I
it's like
write
a
everything down.
manifestation,
Yeah,
basically. That's
exactly.
how I look at new moon is when you want to manifest something
Yeah,
and put it out there. It doesn't mean that you're going to get it. You know what I mean? Like it, and if, like what you're
totally.
saying, it's totally about what you're meant to receive,
Receive.
right? So,
And it's all
yeah.
about divine timing. So
Mm-hmm.
don't think that if you're putting it out there and it's not happening right away, it
Right.
still might come.
Right.
Your team gets on it right away, but it just might not be you're ready for it yet.
Right.
And sometimes that's the ego part of us where we're like, we want it right now. Please
Mm-hmm.
bring it to me. Why isn't it coming? And you just need to trust. Again, it's having that trust and that faith that it's going to come through.
Yeah.
And just trusting that your team knows when it's best for you. There's a
Right.
lot of work that happens in the background, that they have to make all of this stuff align for you. So
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it's fine. You feel ready to put the wishes out there, but know they're working on it, and just trust that when the time is right, it's going to fall in alignment for you
Mm-hmm.
if it's meant to be. So
Yeah.
it's some people are scared of manifesting. Even the word is like, oh, I don't want to manifest anything.
Right.
So you can go manifest, or set intention, or make wishes, or
Mm-hmm.
dreams. And so I like using those different words as well, and just putting that out there.
Yeah.
You can make it your dreams, you can make it your wishes, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is. So yeah, for me, so like I write mine all down, and then I clear myself with Palo Santo is what I like to use
Me
on
too.
a new moon, because it's a lighter one and it smells amazing. I just love it so much. And it's all about like intention setting and blessings and that sort of thing. So that's why I use the Palo Santo at that time. And then I'll take my piece of paper and I actually fold it up and I sleep on it on the new moon overnight. And that's, I'm very much of a traveler, dreamer, that sort of person. So for me, again, it's just my connection with the moon and
Mm-hmm.
that night and just putting it out there. So I sleep on it, and then I then get rid of it the next day and just kind
Yeah.
of put it out to the universe. I have had students in the past who have done that, or they keep it all in a book, and they
Yeah.
don't just write it on a separate piece of paper. They like to write it in a book, and they like to go back and see
Yeah.
as they move forward on their journey, the things
Mm-hmm.
that, they've been asking for and things like that.
I
So
will
you can
mention,
really do
yeah,
whatever
you
you
can. I was
want.
just going to say because I just remembered. See, this is why I'm like, I literally do it
So
when
airy.
I am like, I literally do it the day
Aw,
of because it's like I don't have one set thing where I do all the time. It's not the same every time. And I just
right.
remembered that
Yeah.
there are times where I will write down my intentions or wishes, however you would like
Hmm.
to say it, and I fold it up and I actually put it outside and I take
Right.
a jar of water to make like moon water and I'll actually
Right.
put it on top of that and leave it out there for the intention. And then I will drink the water the next day and it just gives you that I
Yeah.
don't know. It just gives me that refreshing feeling in my own body. Even it just helps
Yeah.
like activate my cells in a way. I
Right.
don't know,
That
but
new
yeah,
energy.
yes, yeah. So I
Yeah.
forgot that there you can do that as well, and I do
Oh, yeah.
that every once in a while when I'm called to as well. Like I don't always burn mine, and like
For
yeah, like
sure.
I do the same thing. I write in a journal. Like I don't know how many journals I have. I have so many, but
I'm
anyway,
such a journal collector.
so am
It's just
I. I
seriously, I
so
just
bad.
can't. Why do they make journals?
And why do
Right?
they
I'm
have
just
to
like,
look so pretty?
I know there's so many. That's literally where I squirrel off.
Yeah,
Like journals, I'm just like
I
right away I
know.
have to buy a new day planner, which is also another like fun shopping thing for me is day planners. Me and
I
Isabel get so excited. We're just like,
know.
oh, and she already went and bought one without me. And I was
Oh,
like, oh. Yeah, so I got to get on this pretty soon because it's already September. So all the new planners came out,
yes. Yeah.
and I'm going to have the last of the pickings pretty
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yep.
That's typically how it goes, though, because I'm so busy, I just don't get a chance to. So, but whatever, it is what it is. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. That's something
Yeah.
I still have to do.
Yeah.
But yes, it's, I'm just sharing this information. I know, Shelly, same for you. Like, we're just sharing this information for you
Mm-hmm.
guys to just maybe learn something new, maybe, or maybe you already know this
Yeah.
and maybe you already do these rituals. Maybe you don't.
Yeah.
And it's to find your own way. These are just
Right.
suggestions. It's that information. And if you want to do these, cool, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
And if you do it, make it your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
If something calls to you or speaks to you, or you just intuitively feel like I'm going to do this. Some people like pull cards.
Yeah.
Some people like do these cleansing baths, and
Mm-hmm.
they do like stuff with like dried flowers. And oh my
Yeah.
gosh, there's like
Oh,
really
tons.
beautiful things. And
Yeah.
then there's just like the most basic. And sometimes it's just like closing your eyes. Here's my intention. Blah 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 blah. Done.
Yep. That's right.
Okay, that's it, move along. And,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be this whole sit down, go into meditation, take a whole hour or two
No.
to do this ritual. You can literally just
Yep.
say it out loud. This is my intention. I'm letting this go.
Mm-hmm.
Clear yourself, be done.
Yep.
It can be like literally
5 minutes.
2 minutes,
Yeah.
2 minutes to like 5 hours. I
Yeah.
don't know. You can do
Whatever you
whatever you
want.
want.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the last thing I want to mention on this topic is that just so you know, when it is a new moon, full moon, whatever, and you are doing this, like a ritual type of stuff, the most intense energy that we're to do these rituals in is the day of, like leading up to that night of the moon, whether it be the new moon or the full moon. So that whole day leading up to that evening, and then following the whole next day as well. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the time frame that you would want to do your ritual in. If it's a different time, that's fine too, but it's just the most intense during those times. It's just
Right.
more power at those times.
And
So
I
just wanted to
also
throw that in there.
they were also telling me to say this as well before we
Mm-hmm.
end, is that
Mm-hmm.
when you're probably wondering when you should charge your crystals, and you
Mm-hmm.
can actually charge your crystals 2 days before and 2 days
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
It totally is up to you. You could even just charge it for that night, or a couple
Totally.
hours, however you
Yes.
want to. But just so you know that you can charge them 2 days before and 2 days after, and
Yeah.
you don't have to leave them out the whole time. And when you
Mm-hmm.
do charge them, I forgot to mention, is that you want them to be in the moonlight, so they can be outside, they can be on a windowsill,
Mm-hmm.
wherever that there you can see that there's moonlight shining. And
Totally.
sometimes the moon isn't shining, and don't think
Mm-hmm.
that you can't charge your crystals, because you still can, because the
Yeah.
energy of the moon is still there. So you can
Yes.
still charge them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily have to have the light. But as long as it's near where the moon is,
Yeah.
then your crystals will get charged. So I thought I'd just mention that as well. So
Charged and cleansed.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can
That's
place
awesome.
intentions on your crystals too
Of
when you
course.
are cleansing them and charging them. And when I
Yeah.
mean by charging, you can charge them in the moon or in the sun as well,
Yeah.
which is my favorite thing. I'm more of the
You're a
sun
sun
person.
person.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am. And I love the sun so much. And
Yeah.
I charge my stuff in the sun all the time. I'm always charging them in the sun. So,
Yes.
but anyway, you can do the same thing for moon. So I thought I would
Yeah.
just mention that too. So
Yeah. That's
yeah.
awesome. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, really,
Lots
for,
of good
the
information
information.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for your information too. And even on that time passages as well
Yes.
on that
Yeah.
app too. So
Mm-hmm.
lots of good information. So I hope that you all enjoyed this episode. I hope that you maybe learned something new, or maybe are getting excited to try one of these out. And you will find, what I have to say is that you would find the most um, difference in your life if you do it, like, for like 1, 2, 3 months. Like if you do
Yes.
it continuously, you will be able to see, you'll even feel it when you do it,
Mm-hmm.
but to see the results as you move forward on your journey, I would say at least try it for 3 months, and
Yeah.
Google the phases and just try it out and just see, like, wow, okay, look what's
Mm-hmm.
coming and how you felt. It's so neat to kind of reflect on that and to see what comes up. So
I
yeah,
just
do you have
thought of
something
something
else?
else. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But solstice too.
Yes.
those
Yes,
are total
absolutely.
another thing that we might want to talk about as well next time. But
Yeah, for
because
sure.
sometimes moon phases land on solstice, and we have
Oh, for
solstice
sure.
4 times a year. It's like the seasons, and
Yeah.
so we'll maybe talk about that one day too. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So thank
okay.
you guys so much for supporting us, for tuning in and
Mm-hmm.
listening. We appreciate you all. Thank you
Yes,
so much for tuning in with the Empath Sisters today. And we are sending you love, light, and gratitude wherever this may find you. So thank you so very much. Take care,
yes.
everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.